Hello, hi, this is Julian again, and we're in part six of this series on the development of a cleaning business. And I've talked about the challenges and some of the sort of key issues. Why I did this blog and introduction. We reviewed some of the key processes, the challenge we faced along the way, particularly around staff, and the expansion plans. On the system side, I thought I'd show you what the systems were and a little bit about our development as we progressed. Um, I wanted to really talk about the marketing side and the website and the sort of CRM system. And when we started out, and this might be a little bit small to see, we started out in Wix, and so I thought I'd start here. So the first thing is it has a CRM system. You can see a list of the clients here. These are all of the contacts, and if I just go into a particular record, which is a dummy one, which is me, you can see we've got all the we've got tags or labels as they call it. We've got an activity log. We've got a history of the inbox of all the communications with that person. We're not using this live now, so it's all a month or two old. We've got a list of the orders. We've got the notes. We've got the bookings, any future jobs that we're doing for that client. We've got the invoices. These are all test invoices, and we can see the status. So if you pay, the system tracks that. Got orders again. We've got subscriptions if you have a weekly, monthly subscription, and loyalty points if you want to do that. And you can set up a note, tasks, and things like that. So it's actually pretty good. And of course, you can send them from there. And if we go to the inbox, all of the communications with the client are stored here. So whether they're SMS, and I can send a message here on email or on chat, SMS, or if I linked WhatsApp, I can do that as well. So it's pretty good from that point of view. And then from a website perspective, if we actually go to the website, this will show us some stats, and there's some really good stats in here of how the site's working and your Google Analytics and things like that. And there's a great website editor, the Wix Studio, I think they call it, where you can actually build up your website. And this is where we set up the website for the first time. It does take a minute to load. Sorry about that. And I'll just show you very quickly around the editor. This is not going to be a tutorial, and there's many hundreds of tutorials on the website and some pretty good help in the help area of the Wix website. I've got a performance warning here saying this is running a bit slow. I think recording the video and trying to load this editor is a bit of a stretch for my laptop. But here we get, which we can see, we're now getting what was the website, and that's the home page, and we get a list of all of the pages down the side. This might be a little bit small to see, but in essence, they're all pretty much the same. So if I just go to a job form here, detailed job form, this is where I've created a form which is multi-page form that goes next and goes on to other pages, etc. If I go back to that home page, the home page and home page old, effectively this is a section. I mean, you can add a section. So if I added a section, we can say that's the design section, AI generated, or an element. And if I add an element, these are all the things that, so I can add an image, and there's predefined images. I can add a button, loads of buttons. I can add a strip, a box, a gallery, music, contact forms, and so on and so forth. And then the payments and a blog, and there's just loads and loads of stuff. And it actually works really, really well. It's pretty intuitive to get the hang of it. These things here are containers which have a repeating item, and so on and so forth. And there's some quite clever things that if I go to a page here, which is if I can find it here, chemicals, what you'll see here when it loads up is a list of the chemicals we use, and then you see this format here. But we've only got, and we only have to define this box once with a series of items. And this little thing here tells you it's connected to their content management system. And we link fields in the what's called the content management system to this box, and then it just repeats. So if we were then in the what they call the content management system, it's like a data-driven website. So the data drives the page. We've got several of those. We had staff onboarding and customer onboarding as sort of portals. Here's all the chemicals, and really we've got this table. So each of the chemicals, its name, the manufacturer, the description, the risk, etc. And then this then just feeds through and populates this. There are predefined elements like the blog as well, and that works pretty well. So you can define blog articles and so on and so forth. And then within the system itself, this is where you define the blog, and this is where you write all your posts. And the use of AI to create a post is pretty impressive. It's nicely built into the workflow. So this was creating a job post, but if I go generate a post using AI, I can specify the basic topic and so on and so forth, go through a few steps, and it would write that article for me. It always needs a little bit of adjustment, but it works pretty well. The other thing we did on the website was set up booking. So we set up a catalog of items, the things that we could effectively sell. I didn't realize this was all here to start with. So these are our services. So it's like weekly cleaning, and I can edit that, and I can define the characteristics of the weekly clean. So I can describe it, what's the duration, so it's 1 or more hours, and I have a price for different hours. I can specify locations and staff for that, and even resources if you had specific equipment, or you could use rooms if it was like massage therapy or something like that, and you can set policies and so on and so forth. So it's pretty decent stuff. And then from the booking side as well, we can manage the schedule and see the calendar here. We're not really using this now, so there's just some sort of dummy information in there. But if we look at a particular item, it's set up with a location and how many hours and who's doing it. In this case, it's Charlotte. It also takes the payments. So if we go to invoices, we can have quotes or estimates, as we call them, and we can have invoices, and we can collect payments in the system. So really, there's a lot of stuff here that's all pretty well integrated that you could sort of add in. In fact, there is here under the apps, there's an app marketplace, and there's lots of different things. We added in the FAQ, payroll calculator we didn't use. The testimonial builder, frankly, wasn't very good. It used a third party, which we didn't like very much, and it links in with Google reviews. So you can keep track of a lot of things. You can do marketing and email marketing, but then to do anything more than the basics, it integrates with Omnisend. So again, it starts to get a little bit messy. The problem we had with this, if we look at a job here, if we ever sort of edited this and changed it and then resaved it, whatever was set here, we never really trusted this. It would often send a notification to the client and the person doing the work, the cleaner, in our point of view, whoever we set in this case here, Charlotte, and we can edit that, who's doing the job here as well. So we find that a little bit too automated. So we then went and set up something else called Connect Team. It's one of the integrations with this tool, and I will just log on. I should. This has a very nice interface. I'll just move this up to full screen. Has a very nice interface, and very friendly to use. And I'll just expand a bit. And it has all of our users defined in it into groups like cleaners or management or whatever. It has a directory of people, knowledge base, events, a help desk, all sorts of stuff. But the core of it is the job scheduling, where you can have multiple schedules. You only get one in the free version, and up to 20 users, and you can schedule a week. These are all just sort of dummy ones there. And if I look again at this one here for Anna, who's the owner of the business, we can define a job, but it doesn't fully understand the concept of a customer. It understands a job. It understands a shift. These are all shifts here, and also the ones that are, if it's in grayed out, it means it's not being published. And when you publish it, it then publishes that. Again, it doesn't understand the customer, so it avoids spurious alerts to the customer, but it alerts the staff once you publish it. One of the challenges, however, it synchronizes with the bookings in. I've disconnected this now, but if I added something here, it would immediately add it here. It's great. But if I wanted to add 2 people to the team, for instance, down here, this is Charlotte and General Cleaner, for instance, that wouldn't be allowed if it had been originated in Wix. So it was frustrating. If you created 2 people in a job here, it couldn't create it or sync properly, and it would do no communication with a customer. But it's a great tool for the staff. And then there's also a time clock, and this can all be geo-fenced so that people can only log in when they're at a job, which you think would be great. But then if there's no phone signal, you can't do that. So it's a bit of a pain. But then this will keep track of their timesheet. So when the person connects into the app on their mobile, I'm obviously showing the sort of administrator version here, they get a very simplified interface and they can log in. So this is a really nice tool, and we've used it for all sorts of things, including it's very good with forms. I seem to have missed, there we go, there's the forms. And we've set up things like a risk assessment, a personal incident, a checklist, an equipment sign-out form. This is the form. You get all sorts of metrics. Obviously, we're not using this a lot at the moment, and I can edit this form. And then these are the things in it. So who's the person, what's the date, what's the equipment, and there's all sorts of form and field types, and this is pretty flexible. So forms is great. You always find you need some forms. And then we've built a whole set of courses in here, like the onboarding, and we've got an employee handbook, for instance. And so if I edit this one, you'll see we've got the intro, we've got some rules and protocols, we've got some client info, we've got our policies, sickness. So people can go through that, and we can track, as you say, if you look here, they're in progress, have they completed it, etc., etc., etc. So I do find this a really nice tool. And also the timesheets feeds into, if we actually go to the timesheets, sorry, let me log in here, connect in, and then go to the timesheets. You can actually see timesheets by job, and you can add them up, and it will tell you how many hours there are. And then that can ultimately be integrated with the payroll. And we weren't using QuickBooks at the time, but now we are. And it would synchronize from here as well. Our only problem was one of mobile signals, and then we tried to get our customers to give us access to their Wi-Fi so that people could check in and check out. But again, it's been a little bit sporadic. So this is really nice software, and I'd say of all the software we use, it's probably the most attractive and the best, and there's a really sophisticated things that this will do. It also has calendars in it, so you can, bit like Wix had, it's actually slightly more sophisticated than that. You can see it'll have all these people. I have a calendar for each different service, which is a little bit confusing, but it sort of works once you does work well once you get to understand it. All those contacts, you can then have the leads and the opportunities. So we didn't really have this in Wix, and you've got these different stages. We're saying we've got recurring business with all these. We're not really using this totally at the moment. It's also got a payment system, but we're not using the payments here. The key thing we're using it for really was the marketing side of things, which is basically email marketing campaigns, and there's all sorts of other things here as well, as you can see. Social media planner, so we're going to start using that more. It's got some pretty sophisticated automation. We may have used one or two of these at the moment, and I'm sure we'll use more in the future, like a new customer onboarding email automation. And this is a little bit more sophisticated than the standard sort of stuff you might get used to, and you can't really do this in. You can do some of this in Wix, but you can build automations. And I could say, well, after I've done a welcome email, what do I want to do next? And I have a whole series of different things that I could do. In this case, I might just want to wait a bit, or then send them SMS, and there's all sorts of different actions. So you can build really sophisticated workflows, and that's one of the real strengths of GoHighLevel. With all of the other things I've been doing, we just haven't really got round to that. We've also got a membership system and courses. We've got reputation management, which is something we're definitely going to do for doing the sort of Google reviews. This is already linked to our sort of Google business profile. Here's some of the reviews. Again, we haven't fully utilized that yet. There's all sorts of reporting. There's a marketplace, and the key thing we have done, and this was as far as we decided to go right at the start, was to build. They have a thing called funnels, but we've also got websites, and that's the core thing. So we've got a website for each of our different aspects of the business. But if we go to the core one, which is the Cosy Cleaners, the editor is laid out a little bit differently to Wix. We had the list of all the pages down in Wix. Here they're all listed out in this way, and then we can look at we can edit a page. The editor here, a little bit quicker to open up, and I think, and it's very similar to the Wix editor. It is a little bit different, but broadly the same. I've largely copied the styles. This works in a very similar way. I'll just go down to the bottom. If we're in any section and we go add a section, we can add a full width thing, full width sort of, they call that a section. That can be a row, 1, 2, or 3 columns. There we go, 3 columns, and then within a column we can add an element. And again, very similar to Wix, we've got pre-built global sections like the footer and the header. We've got templates, we've got widgets, we've got a store. In terms of elements, we've got all of these things. So we can add in a blog post, we can add in an image, we can add in an FAQ, a snippet of code, a map, a navigation menu, which is obviously at the top of the page. We've got some predefined buttons, we've got social media icons. So similar, and I would say it's probably 95% as good as the Wix. I think the Wix has the edge. Up on the right it would say publish, because I've actually changed something, I didn't save it. One of the things that's a little bit different is there is also a blog, and we basically converted all the articles from the Wix blog to this blog. We need to now do another set of new articles. This is like a product that they bought and it's not been fully integrated. I find it very frustrating. But the benefit of GoHighLevel, it does have a very broad range of topics. And again, there's a content AI, so you can get AI to write you a post. If I just edit one of these just to look at it, its formatting is slightly different. And there's no image in this one for some reason, which is a bit strange. But if I go to the website and we've put the blog under About Us, this is a live blog. You have a certain amount of, a reasonable amount of control over this, and this is where we've ended up with a blog. And you can click on any of the articles and go into more detail. And this is the sort of style that it typically has an image at the top and then a bunch of content with some of the sort of parameters sort of here. So it works pretty good. And if I just open up this message again, it's still waiting for me to respond to that. So GoHighLevel, under the sites here, we can also run webinars. We can set up an e-commerce store that it looks pretty basic. We can have a client dedicated portal. We can build forms, and we've done that a couple of times. The job application form, as I mentioned, if I look at that one. So there's not a huge amount in here that isn't in Wix, but I would say in general it is a little bit more capable. It's done more, I think, with the AI agents in the short term, which is one of the key things I need to do more to sort of fully exploit that. So in one or two areas it's not as good as Wix, but in the majority of cases it does have more sophistication. I think, again, if you're trying to get to a good level of sophistication, and to be honest, the vast majority of small service businesses and cleaning businesses are nowhere near the sophistication of what we've done already in our website. I haven't demonstrated the website. I wasn't planning to do that. Go and have a look around at it. It's nothing amazing, but I think it's pretty well presented, and both the tools allowed them to do that. So Wix, I think, is a great platform, and it's aiming itself at reasonably quite large enterprises and quite sophisticated capabilities. GoHighLevel is aimed at the marketing agency that's providing services to the small business, like a cleaning company or so on and so forth. So I'm acting as the sort of marketing agency or service provider, and I've got a long way to go in getting completely up to speed with all of this and delivering more services, and probably to other clients other than Cosy Cleaners. And this is what we'll do for other cleaning companies or services company that we help set up. One of the other things, this is working as the Cosy Cleaners, but I can work as my marketing agency or any other company. I have any number of companies in here, which is pretty sophisticated, and I can act as the agency and go up to the agency view here. Why this didn't seem to have worked for some reason, but in the agency view, here we go. I can see the different accounts I have. Again, if I go to settings in either of these, there's loads of things to do with the settings that I can send up, but it also has snapshots. So if I set up a bunch of websites, funnels, automations, email marketing, I can copy that into a new account. So this is how we can set up help new companies set up or franchises. And this is one of the real strengths of GoHighLevel and one of the reasons we've used it. So I'm going to pause there, and that was really more about the marketing, the website, which is one of the key processes for sort of attracting customers. And we're going to use the email marketing. I didn't really show the Facebook advertising or Google, and we can do another article on that later, but I just wanted to really show the systems in addition to that, because everyone will use Facebook and Google to a certain extent. So with the